Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome, Steve, with Census Fidelium coming at you at 9 o'clock p.m. January 28th, 2026. Depends what calendar you're looking at. St. Agnes' second feast day, the octave of her feast day. Read Garanger, you'll see why. Blessed Charlemagne's feast day. If you look at the new calendar, it's St. Thomas Aquinas. I think it's the day he died. Is that what they moved it to? I can't remember. It is March 7th is his real one. And today's also today got moved. So they moved it 3 months. Anyways, Mark and the Funky Bunch is in the chat. I was wondering where he was. Usually he's beating me to this site. I already see him mentioned about 6 times before I get in there, but glad to see you in there, Mark. Hope you're doing well in Iowa. Everyone else, hope you're doing well wherever, whenever you are. Let's get right to it. Meta Corning deal puts North Kakalaki at center of the AI infrastructure push. The deal highlights North Carolina's dual position in the data center economy, hosting major facilities while also manufacturing critical components that supports projects nationwide. And I pulled this up because I got a couple of them from here. If you do that wherever you are, I bet you could find as many as I have. I had to stop because I was going to be like, I'm going to have a dozen of these things. Sure, there have been some cities and towns that have beaten the AI and pushed back on it, or the data centers have kicked the data centers out. But Corbett had a great video on it, on how to push back versus it. And people are winning. People win, but you also lose because these guys come back. It's like cutting off one of the heads of Hydra. You might cut off one, but another one will come back. So you got to keep going and going and going. Eventually, we probably all lose unless we have a good governor. Like that Fishback guy has talked about getting rid of all the data centers or at least stopping them. But it's going to be hard because no one really has anybody in the leadership position to do that. Hey, that's why there's an election or a selection, whatever you want to think about it, coming up in many states in this union. I know it's too late for you to sign up, but at least find out who it is and harp on them about the data centers. Maybe find your mayor. Talk to the mayor. Make sure you know what's going on in your city council about these things. Yes, they do bribe local politicians. That's why we need virtuous men to get in to local and state. Maybe that's not perfect because there's going to be a lot of Catholics that will do it. It might look like they're great on the surface, but when they get into power, oh, well, I'm going to take that money and run. So it's not a perfect situation because it doesn't make just because we're Catholic doesn't mean we can be corrupted. Can't be corrupted. We can be. But we do need virtuous men getting into all levels, local, state, all that. We need to do it. Every state, every county, every city, town, whatever. Figure it out. People need to get in it. Obviously, there's not every Catholic in every town. So, like Cherryville, I don't think there's maybe 2 Catholics in all of Cherryville. Cowpens, where I grew up, I think there's one. We were the only family at the time. I think there's another family now. I'm pretty sure. But yes, your electric bills will double. Your water will be poisoned. All kinds of great stuff. This is on the news of the weird. Charlotte man, hence Clown Planet. Charlotte man sentenced for possession AI-generated child pornography. It was kind of like one of those. I told my wife, I was like, this is one of those make you go, I'm not saying go get the real stuff, but really, how do you get into the thing? You know what? I need AI generated. The good stuff, the real stuff isn't good enough for me anymore. A Charlotte man has been sentenced to 6.5 years in prison for possession of child sexual abuse material, including AI-generated content. Broadway 54 was also required to serve a lifetime of supervised release, register as a sex offender, and pay $17,000 in special assessments and $15,000 restitution. It's just the AI-generated part was like, huh? Containing more than 30,000 images and videos of AI-generated child. I mean, that is a ton. Oh, is this the dude? Is this the guy? He was doing a child. Yeah, no, this was a wrestling coach in the area that I'm in. Most people have heard about how data center development is flooding into North Carolina, but did you know that we, North Carolina residents and taxpayers, are subsidizing them? It's true. Thanks to a law passed by our state legislature in 2015, data center developers and operators pay $0 state sales tax on all equipment, electricity, and software they buy. Isn't that special? So even though data centers rely on hard infrastructure paid for by North Carolina taxpayers like roads, water, sewer, emergency, police, fire department, etc., they contribute no sales tax in return. All of the additional tax burden is dumped on us. That is amazing. It's probably not the only place, too. Here's we discussed big data's building of data centers in North Carolina. They alone can consume a power plant's capacity. Some worry the data centers consume too much fresh water. Donna King says data is here to stay, so let's accommodate the need. Okay, thanks. ICE agents. I should have brought it in the latter. I've got it mixed out. I should have brought it in the later part of the program. ICE agents caught using sonic weapons at close range against peaceful protesters in Minneapolis. ICE agents were seen using long-range weapons in a face-off against peaceful protesters in Minneapolis as the Trump administration's crackdown on the city continues. ICE agents were caught using LRAD weapons against protesters. Where are they at? Do they have a photo of these things? Long-range acoustic devices. Okay, yeah. If you remember the Rona days, New Zealand and Australia used these things. Australia used. They had these gigantic things right outside the courthouses, and I remember those photos. And they would play it, and what they did was just incredible loud noises. Because these guys were all dressed up like in military fatigue type deal things. Better find a way to use ocean water instead. That's why that's why they got cloud seeding. They need more rain to pull the more rain out to do this. And you got to be vigilant in your areas to be able to push these guys out. Man, I wish they had a photo of this stuff. List of some of the people suffering after exposure to long-range weapons, including permanent hearing loss, vertigo, migraines, nausea, and ruptured eardrums. One person wrote that this scene is what an authoritarian police state looks like. They continue. Federal agents deployed sonic weapons that can cause permanent hearing loss and other lifelong injuries against American citizens using their First Amendment rights. Let me see if I can find it. Australia. What's the name of this thing? All the LRAD Rona COVID protests. See if I know there's a photo of them somewhere. Sorry, I just was trying to find and see if I can give you guys an example of what this stuff is. I remember seeing on Twitter. Maybe they're not going to have any. See the images part. So stuff like this, Melbourne had that. I know there's like a setup like here. I think that's one right there. Let's see if there's any better images of any of these in here. I promise you, I'm not losing my mind. I remember this like this was yesterday about them doing this because Australia was the test run of a lot of these things. See if this has it. Darn it. No. Oh, well. I'll see if I can find anything and put it on. Here's Fishback. James Fishback, as governor, I will ban Palantir in Florida. As he said, quote, we will stop the greatest threat to our civil liberties in its tracking and banning Palantir in Florida. You would think this guy would be blowing it out of the water. Tracking right now, I think it's 85%. The Trump appointed guy, Byron Donald, and Fishback is up 15%. He's gone up though. He's gone way up in the last recent times. But I mean, the dude's been on Tucker. I forget the other guy. He was on another big show just the other day. He was on Fox today. So I don't know what maybe the polls. I never really trust the polls too much. Maybe the polls are really just out of whack just to make people feel like what can I do? Because in the polls he looks like he's getting just obliterated, but online he's kicking tail. So maybe the polls are trying to screw the electorate up from not doing anything. Like he doesn't have a chance anyways. LifeSite News, finally doing something on life, by the way. Brave New World, IVF company's eugenics tool lets couples pick best baby and discard the rest. Nucleus IVF Plus technology is said to allow couples to optimize a baby who's smaller, taller, and healthier than embryonic siblings who are disposed of. In other words, it's eugenics. They've been talking about this for years. A guy in Chicago just got out of prison because he was pushing this stuff. Nucleus genomics. Every parent wants to give their children more than they had. For the first time in human history, Nucleus adds a new tool to that commitment. Welcome to Nucleus Embryo. I'll just pull it up. Maybe I can see it a little bit better. It's the first ever genetic optimization software that helps parents give their children the best start in life long before they're even born. Oh, I didn't know we had a talkie. Let's listen to the eugenics commercial, shall we?
Start in life. This announcement also marks the first time a company has openly partnered with a couple to help them optimize their embryos based on intelligence. For me, the launch of Nucleus Embryo is deeply personal. My parents are immigrants from Iran who came to America with nothing but conviction that me and my siblings would have more. They sacrificed, struggled, and made bold choices that opened doors for me I could never have imagined. But my parents, or anyone, couldn't change what they didn't know. When I was almost 7 years old, my 15-year-old cousin suddenly died in her sleep from a preventable genetic disease. My family was powerless to save her. And that's why Nucleus launched genetic matching, so parents could uncover.
And now we can design your own baby.
The hidden risks they could pass down to their kids and make informed choices to protect their family. When we launched genetic matching, a lot of parents asked us a new question. What else could I know about my future baby? Now we can help answer that question. Nucleus Embryo is for couples doing IVF to uncover the full genetic profile of each embryo in one intuitive platform. You can explore your future child's health, appearance, and even their well-being. And one of my favorite features, you can even name your embryos and leave notes on the ones you like. Family planning is now truly for families. Understand your future children in simple terms with one clean, easy-to-use interface. For parents doing IVF, every embryo is a possibility. And every parent deserves the power to decide what possibility feels right for their family. Not because these choices are easy, but because they're yours to make. In science, when pursued responsibly, has the power to
You get it. They're using a lot of man. Not only they discard all the other lives, but you got designer babies. Well, again, they've been talking about this for a very long time. Here is as Henry Ford goes. Okay, this is just getting absurd. American Football Hall of Famers and Patriots owner Robert Kraft sports washing in Israel, given a signed helmet to Bibi. Now we move to this program to socialism part of the program, where now it's only socialism. It's okay when we do it. Here's Scott Bissett talking about and if you don't know what happened, today was a Trump account launch. They've been talking about this for a while. They were hinting at it for a long time.
I think that this is.
And remember, this is George Soros' right-hand man, and plays on the other team, has this quote-unquote husband and 2 designer babies, just like that Pete Buttigieg guy. It's okay because he wears a red hat.
The most pro-family administration that we've seen, and everything the president's doing, whether it's the working families tax cut or this, it just shows his interest. And you got it exactly right. The president is focused on Main Street. Wall Street always does well. And I said, this is the biggest merger in history. We are bringing Wall Street to Main Street. Imagine everyone in small town America is going to be looking at their phones, checking their accounts, and they're going to understand and be.
Oh, so you have to have a cell phone for this, don't you? Oh, so you have to have a cell phone. So we get the technocracy part. Oh, you probably have to make sure you don't. What if you start talking bad about the regime down the road? Do they take that money away?
Part of the system. It's not going to be something that's far away on the corner, the New York Stock Exchange on the corner of Wall and Broad. It is going to be the part of their household and their planning. And again, families can contribute. I think we're going to see some great philanthropists. We're going to.
You could do that right now without the government aid. You can just contribute, start your own thing, contribute to it.
I think we're going to see some philanthropists adopt 2 states. So they're going to top up the accounts today. So I don't want to get ahead of them, but 2 very exciting announcements, and a lot of corporates.
Government and corporate entities coming together. What could be wrong? What do they call that? I forget. It's okay when we do it, though. Imagine if it was called Obama accounts. What would you think? Just curious. Asking for a friend. Kevin O'Leary on Trump accounts. Today, there's 110 million. And I like Mr. Wonderful, except for this, things like this. I mean, he's obviously a centralist and all that. And today, he's 110 million Americans who basically have no plan for the future. This idea that Trump account solves that problem. This is a way for the country to heal itself. Yes, because what is needed is government, more government in your lives. As I said, oh, good grief, get the government out of our lives and watch people make it. It's really that simple. Catherine Austin Fitz, Trump was put in the White House to persuade conservatives, which I don't even know. I forgot. I was going to pull up. I just went stupid. Russell Kirk's 6 canons for what a conservative is. There's Russell Kirk's 6 canons of conservative thought, outline fundamentals, principles that define what conservatism is. Belief in a transcendent order. This refers to a natural law that governs society and human behavior. Affirmation of tradition, emphasizing the importance of historical continuity and inherited wisdom. Recognition of human imperfection, acknowledging that humans are flawed and that society must account for this. Belief in the importance of community, valuing social bonds and role of local institutions. Emphasis on property rights, supporting the idea that private property is essential for individual freedom and societal stability. Skepticism of progress, questioning the notion that progress is always beneficial and recognizing the potential dangers of radicalized change. Nope. Oh, yeah, we like this one, though. Persuade conservatives to go along with the control grid. There is nobody on our side. They are all trying to implement the control grid. So is Trump our friend? Absolutely not. This clip of Fitz, a former assistant secretary of housing and urban development, investment banker and founder of Salary Report, is taken in discussion with Miles Franklin, posted to YouTube January 26, 2026. Partial transcription of the clip. I'll just play it. How about that? That's good enough. You don't need me to read it to you. Where are we at? Share screen.
In my opinion, Trump was put into the White House to persuade conservatives to go along with a control grid.
Mhm.
And what you need to understand is if you look at all the factions operating in Washington, there is nobody on our side. They are all trying to implement the control grid.
Yeah.
And the question is who's going to control it and who's going to make money on it. So is Trump our friend? Absolutely.
Do you think this Trump account, do you think that's not going to be controllable? Do you think you got freedom to that? Oh, by the way, we're putting up your account. We're giving you an account, giving it to you. You can do whatever you want. If you think that's past the hookah pipe.
Probably not. And if you look at the extraordinary effort that the administration has made to build the control grid, the local hardware and software infrastructure, billions of dollars. So let me step and talk about the local infrastructure and then come back to this side, Andy. Let me explain what AI is really good at. So there's a lot of crazy, magical, stupid thinking on AI. But one of the things I will say about AI, it's absolutely superb at implementing or tracking things that can be expressed mathematically. So its ability to collect and process huge amounts of data like surveillance data, where you're trying to implement spatial control or financial control, it's absolutely fantastic at, okay? And if you look at all the data centers we're building all over the country, they are there for control. That's what they do. They're not there to make businesses. I always laugh when the guys say, oh, we poured all this money into AI and it's not making companies more productive. Well, of course, it's not meant to make companies more productive. It's meant to make sure that the leadership has complete control, spatial control and financial control. I just noted Congressman Massey is now fighting to kill the switch in your car, kill the car switch. So they've got new items in the car that your car can be turned off, remotely. And so he's trying to kill the kill switch. But that gets back to spatial control. And if everybody's an electric car and you can kill the switch, there you go. You've got total control of movements and money.
I need to reach out there. I'll see about doing that. Yeah, because here's the full video right here. Control grid. That's not a currency system. That's a slavery system. Again, look at what's going on with this Trump thing right here. The Trump accounts. There's Benny Johnson, Mr. Bootlicker cheerleader himself. Trump accounts are one of the greatest things ever to happen in the history of humankind. He says ever to happen for future generations. Just look at this. Maximum contributions, age 18, $303,800, $303,800. Age 28, $1 million. No contribution at all. Age 18, $5,800. Age 28, $18,100. I can do that at the nights with the insurance policy, put a kid rider on there. Actually, I can get more. And you get life insurance out of that. Or if what's the other group that I have I left the nights. I got, for me, because it's cheaper to go with Catholic Foresters. Yeah, Catholic Foresters. So if anybody's not at night, you want life insurance, check out Catholic Foresters. It's on censusfidelium.com. I have a link to it in the Catholic business section. But you can get a kid's rider and put that on, and you get more. You don't have to be, it's not a Trump account. Anyway, gives the future generation a kickstart towards the American dream. What are we at, $39 trillion in debt? Yeah, okay. Yeah, the American dream. That's what we need. The American dream needed a Trump account. Again, what would you say if it was a Clinton account? A branded account? Obama account. No one likes Obamacare because of the way it came out. Trump care. Now we get Trump account. Trump, I'll just play him.
Perhaps no provision of the great big beautiful bill will prove more consequential.
Big beautiful bill. Remember the BBB, Build Back Better.
Than Trump accounts. Under this program, the U.S. government will automatically create a tax-free investment account.
The U.S. government will create a tax account
for every newborn American child.
Talk about cradle to grave, baby.
Something that nobody really would have even thought of. There was
Well, because those people aren't that big of a socialist. We, I mean, they're socialists and then they're socialists. And you know what we need? We already got cradle-to-grave. Let's hold my beer.
some brilliant people that thought of it for a long time. They're here with us today. We're going to introduce a couple of them. But nobody really, I mean, I've had friends at the top people in business. They came up to me, whose idea was this? This is great. They said, I never thought of that. We'll fund those personal accounts with a seed contribution of $1,000, which will compound and grow over the course of their lives and could grow into very, very substantial.
I mean, he does tell everybody, call him daddy.
Numbers. Parents, employers, churches, states, and loved ones will also be able to add up to $5,000 in additional money for those accounts. And with every modest contribution, Trump accounts should reach at least $50,000 in value by the time the child turns 18.
By the time the child turns 18 and they got $50,000 in their account, they could buy a loaf of bread.
And could be very substantially more than that. With slightly greater contributions, the typical account will...
The dollar is tanking faster than the Titanic. You think this is just a ploy for people that have no clue what's going on.
Grow to 100,000, 200,000, and can even grow up to past $300,000 per child. And we think the most likely cases in the 200,000, 300,000 range.
Hey,
the size and scale of this wealth will dwarf all government programs ever created to benefit America's youth. There's never been anything like this. That's why everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it because it's such a bad idea. You know, you're either a cheerleader and you're getting paid to be on the side of it because, you know, I guarantee Catholics for Catholics is not going to talk about this. Or anybody else. I mean, you see any other cheerleaders that made their way because of him going to call us out? Nope. No. It'd be like this. They ain't going to touch that. We'll go after the Pope 5 times a Sunday. We're not touching this. Oh, yeah. I forgot about this. You hear about this one? This is TikTok's new CEO, Adam Presser. Forgot about that. I'm sorry, I slipped this one in the wrong time. So I got more on this anyways.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist. But if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2020,
there are Jews that call out Zionism.
We tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe.
Here's Percent says $1,000 deposit in a Trump account at birth can become $500,000 plus by retirement. This is generational wealth, not government dependency. By the way, Derek Evans is it's not totally not government dependency. $500,000 plus for retirement will buy a burger in 60 years. By retirement, 500,000 will be equal to 10,000 in today's money. I suspect that real Donald Trump did the math for him. It's wrong unless people retire when they're 600 years old. Yeah. Percent was George Soros' point man when he shorted the Bank of England. Why would anyone listen to this crook? Yeah, because he has a red hat on. What is Upscroll, the video app soaring past TikTok amid censorship fears? Users have accused TikTok of censoring content, particularly videos that criticize Trump, reference ICE operations, or mention Jeffrey Epstein. Upscrolled is a free, rapidly expansive social media platform enabling users to post messages, clips, and messages, images, and clips. It is positioning itself as an alternative to TikTok. Upscroll claims the number 2 position among Apple App Store's complimentary apps, trailing only ChatGPT. TikTok doesn't even make it in the top 25. That was by yesterday. You know what's funny about this whole thing is they don't even have a link for Upscroll. I guess you have to download. You have to go search yourself. What is up? Let me pull it up. Upscrolled app. It's an app. I know that. Upscrolled. I usually have a website. Here it is right here. Shadow ban elsewhere, not here. There's Upscroll. Time to scroll differently. Shadow ban elsewhere, not here. Upscroll is a social platform that every voice gets equal power. No shadow bans, no algorithm, no pay to play favoritism, just authentic ones. Blah, blah, blah. Right, that was it. I moved it accidentally. Not so great. CNN data guru floored by soaring odds. Melania doc flops. Apparently, there was some theater in Boston, I think 0 people went to. Amazon sponsored Melania documentary appears on track to land with a thud. CNN data analysis Harry Enton told anchor Aaron Burnett on Tuesday. Already reports indicate the theaters are dealing with massive amounts of unsold seats, and even some of the film crew who worked on the movie was hoping for it to tank. As evidenced by the impending failure, Enton pointed to early data for Kalshi, a gambling website with the CNN as partner deal. Tonight, early ticket sales for the new Melania documentary not pointing to a blockbuster at this time. So it'll be free on Netflix later on for you, or Amazon Prime. Sunport details confirm ID to get through TSA. So like a real ID, $45 fee for travelers without acceptable ID. This is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So that's confirm ID over there. You got real ID where I'm at. It's all over the place. Here's the dollar part. Let's see. I'll get on. Let Peter, who's been talking about this since I was born, pretty much. So he was due to get it right with the year was. So
The world is now pulling the rug out from under the U.S. The dollar is going to collapse. The dollar is going to be replaced by gold. Central banks are buying gold to back up their currencies. True. They're getting rid of dollars. They're getting rid of treasuries. We are headed for an economic crisis, again, that will make the 2008 financial crisis look like a Sunday school picnic. The biggest difference between the crisis that we're about to have and the one we had back then is this one is all in America. It's not going to be exported to the rest of the world. It's not a global financial crisis. It's an American financial crisis.
Don't forget about the housing crap, the housing bubble, the student loan bubble, all that. I'll play into.
So it's the beginning of the end of the monetary system as we know it. It's not just the US dollar, it's the fiat monetary currencies. So the UK, the euro, Japan, China all have similar debt problems and so on, and are dealing with the same interrelationships, which is the reason you're seeing gold being chosen by the central banks. They want a currency. Gold has always been the main currency, and it's the only non-fiat currency. In other words, not the currency that can't be printed, that they want. And so that's why you're seeing central banks move and sovereign wealth funds move to gold, and that's the nature of the shift of the monetary system. It's the
In other words, the Great Reset. Here's most people doesn't realize what Trump just said. For more than 12 months, the U.S. dollar has been a sharp decline, falling 10% in 2025 and its worst year since 2017. Minutes ago, for the first time, Trump commented on the decline of the U.S. dollar. The value of the dollar is great, Trump said. This immediately sent the U.S. dollar another percent lower to its lowest level since February 2022. Why? It is clear signal that Trump is willing to tolerate a weaker dollar to push rates lower and boost U.S. exports, own assets, or be left behind. I just thought this was funny right here. Foreign banks, it's the same clip. Foreign banks are dumping U.S. treasuries, buying gold and crashing the dollar. They are pulling the rug out and driving American economy towards a crisis that would make 2008 look like a blip. But that's okay because Trump says so. 49D chess. Oh, this is great. Things that Republicans no longer believe in. Limited government. They never have. Remember, the GOP now is the party of Lincoln. They have not been for limited government since their inception. And that doesn't mean the Democrats of today are the right ones. The Democrats of pre-war antebellum Democrats were not these Democrats. These Democrats now, the postbellum, are the same as the GOPers. It's just like it's like that line and just broke off into a V. And it's the same. They're from the same root. So they no longer believe in limited government, citizens' right to protect themselves from a tyrannical government, states' rights, free market capitalism, independent banking system, reducing the federal debt and deficit, freedom of religion, the 19th Amendment, new war. Well, I mean, they're for the 19th Amendment because they brought it in. It's a communistic idea. They're a bunch of communists anyways. Again, look up what the 48ers were, the 1848ers. They came over from the revolutions of Europe, failed revolutions, got into the Lincoln administration. That's why they were called the Red Republicans back in the day. Why do you think they're called red now? Why do they have a red thing? It isn't a quinkety thing. They've got to pick. No, what do they want? Red, purple, blue, green, indigo, orange. We picked red. They were red to begin with. That's why it's red today. No new wars, American soft power, respect for the judiciary, NATO. Here's a celebrity part briefing for state leaders. This is from Kathleen Rothman's Fitz, but she's not for they call it a con, a constitutional convention. A briefing for state leaders, stop the constitutional convention with Joe Wilmington II. I wonder. The idea that somehow a constitutional convention called to amend the Constitution could not propose one way or the other an entirely new Constitution is simply false. Okay. Proposals for state legislators for a con must not be approved. This was the topic of our online briefing for state leaders and their staff. These briefings are a top priority with the aim of alerting leaders to critical or time-sensitive threats to state and individual sovereignty. To date, 19 states have approved a resolution calling for a con. It was posted the other day. I think it's up to the mid-20s. We need to make sure that no other states approve such resolutions and that the 19 states reverse the resolutions they have approved. So they're thinking that there's a bunch of oddities that people think of, like, oh, a con, it's an Article 5 convention. They say that, it could get rid of the Second Amendment, get rid of the First Amendment. We're at a time where none of those things matter anyways. A con is kind of like, hey, we need to talk about things before we have a breakup, in a sense. People say it could be taken over. Let me see if I can find this real quick. My church did this long ago. He did a con convention. My church. Article 5. I know he did. I don't know if he posted it up online. I know it was on his website. Long ago. Nope, it's not on his YouTube channel. See, my church show, Article 5. Man, I gotta hit him up and say, hey man, where's that thing and link on your site? It's not on there anymore. I know they did it. I listened to the darn thing when it was live. Let's do it a couple times, actually. He had Tom Woods on. I'll find it. Let's see if I can. Maybe I'll put it up for Friday. Anyways, yeah, people worry about that, but really, I mean, you see what's going on now. See, there's somebody, and it's actually somebody in Instagram says no Constitutional Convention. They'll remove the Second and First Amendment. That's one of the things people always hear about. It won't happen that way. And again, what do you think is going on right now? Just keep this. The Titanic is going. Hey, there's an iceberg. We're not changing course. What needs to happen is a darn breakup. But a con is kind of like the last ditch effort before it. And yes, it actually needs to be done. And again, I'll find it for you. And again, they bring up the pros and cons of it, and they bring up those arguments because most of the time people live in fear about those arguments. And Liam, thanks, man. He's got to go, so God bless. But yeah, what's the odds on it actually happening? Because then you got to get the delegates together, you got to find a place, and then 2/3. I mean, you got to have how many people are going to go? You really think 2/3 of 3/4 is going to say, you know what, we're going to get rid of the gun laws? No, they're not going to do that. Again, it's cute. It's good. I mean, they could help out. They probably won't help out. What needs to be done is just automatic, just national divorce, just done. We're done with each other. Gone. BHM says they're intentionally trying to divide us. We have become completely polarized, no middle ground. That's because of centralization. And yes, that's 100% right. They're trying to divide us, trying to get people fighting against person. They want you to hate your neighbor. Again, it's intentional because of centralization. What happens when you have centralized? Everything becomes national. Everything's a national thing. Abortion's nationalized. Gay marriage, everything's a nationalized. And this is not, I'm not saying go for it and all that. When you have that, when you put up like, or even elections, nationalized elections, everything's the same. Well, we have a federal republic. Every state's it's its own republic. Look at the state of California. It says the Republic of California. Florida's the Republic of Florida. This is a republic of republics. Hence the State of the Union address, State of the Union. It's not State of the country. That's why you have every state has a state of the state. State is synonymous with country. State is synonymous with nation. A nation consists of people that have the same culture, language, background, things like that. Is the culture of the South, the language of the South is not the same as the Northeast. It makes sense like that. We're already polarized. We're already broken up. Even back in the day when they were putting this all together, the Northeast was saying there's no way we can live with the people in the South. They're a different culture. They're different people. I mean, it's like the EU. When you have Italy, France, Germany, all the different cultures, different people, different languages, and they're trying to make that one united nation, one nation. Engels supported a one nation idea because communistic idea is growth of the central authority. We have a massive centralized government. So now it's a soft civil war every time there's an election because it's this guy versus this guy. And everyone behind them's going, oh my God, what's going to happen if this team doesn't win? I got to get my team in here to crush this team no matter what. So say like Brandon, all right, or Obama comes in. Now all the pro-lifers are going, oh, he's going to push abortion through all the 50 states. That's where you get the anger. That's where you get the worry because even though Article 2 shows it that the power of the president isn't that at all. He has zero power. The only power the president has is pretty much veto or accept laws coming from the Congress that are veto anything that's against the Constitution or accept any that are, and become commander-in-chief in a foreign war. That's it. The federal government only has 17 enumerated powers, I think it is. And most of it is just interstate commerce to make sure that's okay, trade across seas, and war. That's it. But today, think about it. They're in every darn party of life. Everything. They're in every party. It's not supposed to be like that. Hence why 1798, when John Taylor Carrollton goes, this thing's over. the Constitution's dead. I mean, it was, 10 years old? The thing was over. And then Lincoln put the final nail in the cupboard afterwards. Now we're an empire. But yes, they are trying to divide us. And the problem is centralization. This whole thing in Minnesota, I was telling my wife this yesterday. I don't care what happens in Minnesota. They do whatever they want. I'm not talking about the killings and things like that. I'm talking about how they live in Minnesota. I can't remember the guy's name. He calls everything an abstract. We as a people, like everyone that's listening to me right now, lives in an abstract of this American nation, which doesn't exist. There's no such thing as an American nation. There's no one nation. It's full. It's hubbity hub. It's pipe dream. It doesn't exist. And again, if you want more on that, look up Brian McClanahan. Go in there and type one nation. He got a great historical background on how that's a myth and arguments why, and with evidence. So it's an abstract, because what you do when you walk out your house, did you see Minnesota? Guarantee most people listening right now do not live in Minnesota. Even if you did, you're not living in Minneapolis. Okay, so 99% chance none of you guys live in Minnesota. But if you walk outside, that's your country. What you see, your community, that's what you're supposed to care about. I do not wake up in the morning and go, what's going on in California? Now, that's funny because I do shows like this, and I try to find out all this other stuff for you guys to keep you from having to go to all these other sites and go confused and go, what in the world's going on? So, I walk up and Minnesota. I don't care about Minnesota. Minnesotans take care of Minnesota. That's it. Me in North Carolina, we take care of North Carolina. In my area, I don't even care about what goes on in Greensboro. That's people in Greensboro. Your life is tough enough to have to worry about all these other places. And you don't want to become an imperialist or some kind of Puritan to say everyone has to live like me. No, people in Florida do not need to live like me in North Carolina, or people in Oregon doesn't need to live like I do here. It's things like that. You don't want that to happen. It was the old joke before the war was people in Boston would wake up and go, I can't believe those people in Alabama live that way. Whereas Alabama people are going, I just want to be left alone. So you know what I mean? So you can't have, and then you think 300, if you want to do the whole one nation thing, 320 million people cannot be ruled by a 10-mile square, 4 time zones away or 3 time zones away, wherever it is. And then you put in the how many people are in DC and the thing, you call that representation. Talk about out of scale. Madison had it that 33,000 people, 30,000 people would be too much, would be the limit for a republic. Now we have 1 million people in cities. At the time of the founding, you had 1 million people for the entire thing in the United States at that time. 1 million for the entire thing. And Jefferson thought that was too big. Now we got 1 million people in some cities, and not even the biggest cities. And now states are massive. California has out of scale. You have no representation if you're in California. I think New Hampshire is the best ratio. But if you go into us, was it 530, 535? If you don't want to count the Supreme Court is to what, 320? What's the ratio? It's like 900,000 to 1. What does that mean? No representation. And oh, by the way, I'm not trying to blast you, BHM. Promise you, I'm not trying to do that. It's just one of those things, just bring it up because we may have a new listener or two on that. And I'm probably speaking a foreign language the most on that idea. Because you wake up, you turn on the big news, and even your local news going, let's go to Minnesota. Let's go. I go, wait a second, I don't even live there. Why do I want to see what's going on in my hometown. What can I affect? It's the localism ideas that Bill Kaufman talks about that. Worry about your localism. Don't be a giantism. Go small. Whoops, skip that one. Has your phone ever shown you an ad for something you only whispered? I guarantee everybody is going to say with a resounding yes. Google agrees to fork over $68 million to settle claims that its assistant was secretly recording your convos without "Hey Google" and feeding them straight to targeted ads from the Hill. No wrongdoing admitted, though. Let's see what else is going on in our T-land. Oh yeah, I have a video. Somebody sent me a video of this. Grok says this is AI. Here's one of them. I saw somebody else. The video appears to be, the AI is saying this is an AI. Appears to be a compilation of footage from a January 24th incident in Minneapolis, not days before. In fact, the fact check from Lead Stories notes related images are AI enhanced with hallucinations, e.g. Exempla Gracia, the missing body parts derived from blurry original videos. No major outlets confirm a separate headlight event on January 13th. I suggest cross-verifying with sources like New York Times or AP for accurate content. because everyone is blowing up saying, trying to character assassinate the guy and all this. But if you look it up, the AI is saying it's AI. Trust me, I've used AI before. AI knows AI. We're doing it with the Ripper thing. I've actually posted things on like even Bible channels where they're reading it. I asked, is this AI? And they were like, this is pretty much 99% AI. Antiwar.com, Trump to Iran, agreed to nuclear deal or the U.S. will attack. Once the future king, President DJT, renewed his threats to attack Iran if the Islamic Republic does not comply with his demands. The president claimed that Iran must agree to a new nuclear deal or would be attacked by the armada Trump has assembled in the Middle East. I thought they blew up. Didn't Trump say they blew up all the nuclear things, brought it back decades? 3 weeks later, generals singing in their masses, just like witches at black masses. War Pigs edition, Trump to Iran, agree or die. U.S. holding war games across the Middle East, how Britain could be embroiled in the U.S. attack on Iran. Israel seeks 10-year U.S. military security package. I know, I just said think locally, and I'm doing global now. I'm all over the place. I get it. But again, when I'm doing this, it's all over. When I live real life, it's local. Lindsey Graham introduces the Save the Kurds Act. Putin hosts Syria's president as Russia quietly withdraws troops. Over 170,000 civilians displaced. Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon kill at least 3. Trump administration sued by families of boat strike victims. Good. Fearing U.S. reprisals, Mexico halts oil shipment to Cuba. Trump aims to veto Malikai's return to power in Iraq. War Secretary okays ICE using military bases in Minnesota. Yeah, I mean, after you have centralization, this is a Professor De Rosa's argument. After centralization is globalism. That's the next step. If I get AI voice on sites, I leave them for real people. Hey, I'm all for team human. Trust me. When like for example, you hear me coughing. I can still get this cough, and I got kids. And sometimes the kids scream, and I get this microphone that picks up this kid screaming. So if I'm recording something and it's a 25-minute thing, I don't want at the last second for things to go wrong, or maybe I mispronounce something. I want it done well. I have an AI reader. Works good. Especially if you get sick or something, really don't want to do it. I just get in, I grog, I put it through. I get the reader to do it. It works. Because during Dom Garanger days, I had to ask somebody else to do it because I couldn't do it for a couple of days. And then I went back and redid it again. So yeah, it's a good tool when used properly. Breaking news, the American forces have completed their buildup near Iran, which certainly indicates that the military option against Iran has been decided upon and will be executed. There's a CCJ, Council on Criminal Justice, because people talk about like, why are they in Minnesota? Why is ICE up there? They must be the most worst city in the history of cities, things like that. Here's the homicide records. Minnesota is down here in the middle here. Oh, yeah, wrong button. As many people say, it's not the worst. It's not even by far the worst. I think somebody says not even top 50. But you listen to the news, you think it's ground zero for the in the days. Here's Trump. Trump says he doesn't like that Alex Preddy was carrying a gun. Quote, I didn't like that he had a gun. Open carry is now bad. Stand by. The mega cult is being programmed. Here's Ryan Grimm. Preddy assaulted an agent's billy club with his ribs. This changes everything. That seems to be a joke. It says Alex Preddy broke rib in confrontation with federal agents a week before death, sources say. Trump, you can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. Reporter, what about the Second Amendment? You can't walk in with guns. Yeah, that's exactly wrong. He can't be more. Was it Larry? Larry from VeggieTales. Can't be any more wronger. There's that. Here's that newly obtained BBC footage from it, and he goes, as people say, based on BBC's verified footage, and it's the agent and around. This was it. Show more. He's talking about the AI part, where people saying, "Yep, looks like AI here." Any video you see, you should question at any time. Have you seen this? Yeah, there's a deplorable. Yeah, and it's was it the facts don't care about your feelings? May not like it, but I mean, again, and this isn't trying to compare Whittinghouse to this, but remember, Trump's he's got his, they took a thumbs up picture with him, and he brought a AR to a state 2 states away that guy didn't even live in. Totally cool. Protests, Trump protests. They had guys walking around with ARs. Totally fun. No one cared. Now all of a sudden, Daily and the quote unquote the fake left is having a field day with this. The Daily Show it was funny as anything clip on this. Can't play it because he cusses too much on it, but still hysterical because he was bringing out the hypocrisy on it. He goes, wait a minute. I think it wasn't say guns are the problem. Is that what Trump's saying? But again, Trump is so far at the opposite of a arms fan of. Remember, we had the thing with Bondi. He's talked about the first term and the last term. Take the guns, due process after. This is a direct quote. Look it up.
This job and these people who want to say follow ICE, and film ICE. You know what? You can protest. They have that right. But when you cross that line, and we've proven it, if you interfere or impede or assault an ICE officer, you will be prosecuted. And one thing I'm pushing for right now, Laura, we're going to create a database. Those people that are arrested for interference, impediment, assault, we're going to make them famous. We're going to put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods, in their schools, know who these people are. Because as you said, a lot of these people, they say they're taking time off work to protest. I bet you a lot of them are calling in sick. I bet you a lot of their employers don't know.
As I posted on there, ladies and gentlemen, that's state-sponsored doxing. And on top of that, if you're in that area, you think anybody in there is caring about we're going to tell on them all this? Most of the people there are happy or are, I don't know. Well, I don't want to say most of the people, but you got your fan base up there. You do that, you're going to have people like, they're going to want to hear that. They might want to have your names out there. Badge of honor. It's the same thing. I thought I had one, but apparently I got multiple now. Megyn Kelly got a little uppity the other day. I'm trying to.
And out of their operations.
I
know I'm supposed to feel sorry for Alex Preddy, but I don't.
And this is the same woman that during the Kyle Rittenhouse, she's like, "Oh my, I'm so happy." You see, she's crying on the thing, almost fake crying. He just went down to his knees, almost something like sobbing and all this. And then on top, remember the boats? She's talking. Remember, she's like, "I wish they'd suffer more." We are heartless people anymore. That's the problem with the fake left, fake right thing. The fake left, fake right. Is you listen to these talking heads, and it's just about clicks. They're trying to shock you, and they get the shock jocks, all this. Oh, look what Megyn said. Now she's going to get millions of hits on this, and just because of that, get more viewers. What she's going to say next? You don't get clicks if you say nice things about people, good things about people. Yeah, she's a radical mess. See, I was trying to see if the Rittenhouse thing was on there, but it's not. And I used to watch Beck all the time back in the day before I got my head out of my yin yang, but this was actually a good video that he posted. It was about the BBC one from the other day.
This is compelling video. because what this BBC reporter is saying is true. It's absolutely true. He is getting in between him, the police, and somebody else the police are shoving. He is only holding a phone. He is down on the ground. He is resisting arrest, but his hands are down on the ground. His head is down on the ground.
I don't know where anybody gets the resisting arrest thing. I mean, you're getting pepper sprayed and beaten up. I don't know how you resist arrest when you're getting pummeled.
Then another agent reaches over on top of the other agents who are closest to him on the ground, reaches into his back where he sees an exposed gun, pulls the gun out, and then walks away with the gun. So he's no longer armed unless he has two guns, and they don't claim that he had two guns, only one. And pulls it out and walks away. Right after that, somebody yells, "Gun, gun, gun, gun." That's when the police officer fires at him. Now, the other police officer.
I appreciate the comments about these Steve-isms and all that, but here's a backstory. I used to work at Time Warner Cable back in the day because I got laid off from my medical sales assistant job, and I thought I was going to get. I was like one of those pompous guys. I thought I'll get one tomorrow. Well, tomorrow took like 3 months. Nothing happened. So I took a gig with there, and so if you called about complaining about your cable, you got me. So we had to get, they call it 5, and then you get cable, internet, phone, digital TV, and something else. You get 5. Usually you get 4 out of the 5. And you were supposed to get like 15 of those a day. It was hard. So I got one lady that wanted to get 5. It was right before I was leaving, like 4:50 called. Beck comes on at 5. 4:45 she called. Beck comes on at 5. We're talking. We're building a report. We're yapping. She wants all of it. We're ordering. 4:55 comes in. And 4:58 comes. We're still trying to get the card in and all this. I'm like, give me the numbers. And not that I'm wanting to go home because I'm done at 5. She goes, well, you know what? Beck is coming on. I'll call back. No, don't do that. Finish what you're doing. Wait a second. Why are you calling me if you got cable already? Anyway, it was funny how people were like a cultish of Glenn.
Officer did not know that somebody reached in and took his gun. It might have been somebody who was saying gun, might have been saying it because they saw the other guy, because he's not marked as a federal agent. The other guy pulled the gun out and walking there with a gun. So somebody might have seen him with a gun and said, gun, gun, gun. All the cops think that it's Preddy, and they shoot him. Okay. This is not something that you deal with as, an 8-year-old. This is a conversation for adults to have. And I'm not hearing the adults. First of all, what Noam said is not true. He didn't approach. If you want to say technically he approached carrying a 9mm, he did, but it was holstered and in his back. And you have the right to carry a gun at a protest. I don't think that makes you smart, but it is perfectly legal and constitutionally protected. So I'm sorry, just because you have a gun in your back, if you reach for the gun, if you pull for the gun, then you could probably be expected to be shot if you are pushing the police around. But if you have a gun and you don't have your hands on it, you should not be shot. You have a right to carry that gun peacefully. Okay. The minute you start pointing it at people, you're in trouble. He did not. So this idea that, he was foolish for walking into, this protest with a gun. Well, you have a right to carry it.
And as Lou, better late than never. Benedicta sent me a little thing about people seeing him getting off the bus going to work. So, I mean, I wasn't there. You have to take people that live there with more word than me. Who is it? This is the video that Beck is talking about. Again, all these are in the show notes. You look at the bottom of the video in the description section, you'll see the drop down link. All that's in it, chronological order. So if you want to send this to other people, go for it. Feel free. Here's McClanahan today on relive the civil rights, send in the troops, and because he's talking about Ann Coulter article wants Trump to send the troops and relive the civil rights era, talking about the Insurrection Act. And he starts out by going about, all right, how's the Insurrection Act work? Can Trump just bring it on? Because a lot of these guys are on there, we need the Insurrection Act. He can't just say we're going to do it. First, step one, the state needs to ask for the troops to come in. That isn't happening. That's not going to happen. Done. DOA right off the bat. You can trying to ask for them to bring it in, but he can't do it without the state inviting it in. Just close the book. Again, look it up if you want. But he can't bring him in without being invited in. It's kind of almost like demons. You got to invite him in. Yeah, the Insurrection Act does not work without the state requesting it. And then anyway, the rest of this is built up on things like correcting Aaron Coulter's ideas on trying to compare it to the 1960s and other idiotic things that some modern day quote unquote conservatives try to make up. Anyway, great video if you want to learn about what's going on. Send it to your friends again. Dylan Ellman, the surveillance regime is being assembled in front of our very eyes. Most of you do not understand a tyrannical nightmare directly ahead. People still talk like this is a future problem. It's not. The battle against dystopia is now. 1984 is here. It arrives as efficiency, procurement, integrations, device adoption, and a slow widening of what the state can do to you without asking, without noticing you, without needing you to consent. The attached video shows a federal agent in tactical gear wearing Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses on his face while carrying out state work. A camera at eye level, a microphone, a network connection, constant recording that becomes a file, then a feed, then a searchable object that can be attached to a case, cross-referenced, stored, shared, and reused. Raw footage is noise until it can be fused, searched, and operationalized. That is where AI enters. ICE is paying Palantir to build Immigration OS, Immigration Operation System in case, described as a platform for near real-time visibility into enforcement workflows, including tracking people and helping decide who gets targeted. Immigration is a perfect testing ground because the public has been trained to tolerate acceptable measures when the target group is already politically disposable. The capability does not stay there. It never stays here. By the way, like people have said, was it even Brandon? Brandon it deported more. I know Obama deported more. It's not like the deportation numbers are record numbers right now. You're just seeing the best of the best highlight videos. The nightmare low-light videos, whatever you want to call it. The nightmare is the stack itself. Capture at the edge, aggregation in the middle, AI scoring and targeted at the top. Doorbell cameras feed the state. Ring. License plate readers feed the state. Flock. Data brokers feed the state. Local sharing agreements feed the state. Wearables feed the state. Your phone, camera, whatever, watch. AI compresses the labor cost of suspicion so the state can watch more people more often with less human effort. That is the mechanical shift most people do not understand. AI does not need to be sentient to be oppressive. It needs to be cheap enough to scale the state's attention and fast enough to outrun your ability to contest what it thinks it knows. Let me paint you a picture. An agent walks up the block wearing smart glasses, and your face, your voice, your license plate, and the people you are standing with get captured immediately. That clip hits an internal system where AI transcribes, tags, and links it to whatever identifiers already exist. Your name, your address, your contacts, your past crosses, your employer, your car, your social graph. The platform infuses that with location trails and camera networks, then assigns a priority score that quietly moves you up a queue nobody outside the system can see. A caseworker opens the dashboard and clicks through pre-built options that generates a task list, knock, detain, transfer, pressure, repeat, with the paperwork already half written by AI. This tyranny is procedure. This is tyranny by procedure. The real chokehold is anticipatory control. Once people know they can be index scored and surfaced for enforcement, they start trimming their speech, their associations, their routes, their friends. Dissent becomes a risk factor. Organization becomes exposure, and the state does not need to ban protest when it can make participation cost enough to thin the crowd. It inevitably expands to include anyone who interrupts the smooth operation of power. And this kind of surveillance gives power the ability to punish quietly, repeatedly, and selectively, with plausible deniability stapled to every click. This is the formula for tyranny. The state gains capability, then finds incentives to justify it. Agencies protect budgets by demonstrating output. Contractors protect revenue by delivering results. Politicians protect narratives by demanding visible enforcement. Restraint gets treated as inefficiency. Efficiency gets treated as virtue. Your rights get treated as friction. Any system that allows institutions to assemble your biography without your consent, then act on it without due process, is an engine of domination. Some people tolerate it because they think they will never be the target. That belief is childish. Power does not remain polite. It expands, fills the permissions. You get the idea. There's no video with sound in the background, but you see the meta cameras or the meta glasses. See cameras up there. You see it in the commercials, and you know all these guys have it. And you've seen the videos that we played before of all the stuff that they have. Israel created tested surveillance material too. Keep the glasses on. You're connected. Arrow one's on the camera, goes right to AI. That's funny. Spraying skunk spray would instantly disperse crowds. It would. Here's Rand Paul. There has to be an investigation. I don't know who trusts an investigation done by DHS when they're the ones calling this person an assassin, a domestic terrorist, saying he was assaulting the police. How can they be in charge of an independent investigation? Something's got to happen here. Here's a CNN airs unearthed footage of a Border Patrol agent harassing a rideshare driver. If you were from this country, you would know I'm an immigration officer. I can hear you don't have the same accent as me. That's the second time I've heard a video talking about accents. And the one was a Minnesota guy goes, now we're doing accents? Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry responds to Trump, the job of our police is to keep people safe, not enforce federal immigration laws. True. I want them preventing homicides, not hunting down a working dad who contributes to MPLS and is from Ecuador. Similar policy, a guy, Rudy, in New York City. Everyone should feel safe calling 911. Frey says Minneapolis won't enforce federal immigration laws. Now, they can't. The city isn't. Here's the thing on this. The city is not independent of the state. The state controls the city. It's not like don't look at it as the feds, state, city. States are on top, actually. States can tell the federal government go pound sand. But people act like supremacy clause is everything. They sneeze the right way. It's a supremacy clause. No, the state can tell the state's all powerful in a sense. The state can get rid of a city. The state can pull their charter, can take out a city tomorrow. So a city is not independent. Cannot go now. If they want to try to break away, they have to file for it to break away from the state, and the state can tell them yay or nay. But they can't just. And that's kind of what these. What do you call the? I just went stupid. What do they call the cities with the you know what I mean, those cities where anyone can be like all the illegals can go. Sanctuary city. A sanctuary city is pretty much is illegal because the city cannot do that. Now, if a state says we're a sanctuary state, they could pull that off. City cannot do that because the state can come in and say, no, you can't do that. And then on top of that, so the federal, even the states right now, because it used to be the states were in charge of immigration, but now the courts ruled as the feds. Even was it Arizona pulled a law out during Obama days to something. Was it something about deporting? And Obama sued Arizona to stop it. And the SCOTUS ruled in favor of Obama, saying that they couldn't do anything. So even they can't even do, pretty much the courts have ruled against it. Again, it should be the states, but the courts have ruled against it. So a state can't stop them from coming in, but they don't have to put their resources to helping. So the mayor can do the same thing. The mayor can say, we're not helping, but he can't stop it. McClanahan brings that up in today's thing. He brings up also, like, it's actually the GOPers that were always, especially in the Northeastern. And this is not saying the fugitive slave law was a good thing. It was in the Constitution at the time, and the GOP at the time that were rejecting it and saying we're not going to obey it, even though it was in the Constitution at the time. So you see that it's kind of like, because that was in the what's her face's article saying, Ann Coulter's article saying, it was just like these guys, they were always this. But actually, you got to look at the history before and after, during is all different, and who the players and all this in there, because it's always the Southerners, the boogeyman. But no, it was the Southerners obeying the Constitution. It was just, it's the Constitution. That's the law of the land. Isn't that what they always say? And that's not saying the one thing was good. It's not a moral. We're not doing a moral high ground on here. That was in the Constitution. That's what it was, just like this. So, yeah, and a state governor is, in a sense, state governor is king. Too bad nobody thinks about that. 2 agents involved in Friday's shooting placed on paid administration leave. ICE is now using facial rec on children on the way to school, storing the data for 15 years, blatantly ignoring DHS policies. This is a warrantless biometric policing creeping in everyday life. If they'll scan kids on the sidewalk, what will they do next? Excuse me. I love to play this, but I can't because sometimes he drops a couple of it, but it was pretty hilarious. As True Stream Media says, it shouldn't have been this easy for the Daily Show to do this. Rubio declines to rule out further U.S. military action in Venezuela at Senate hearing. That was today. In weather, U.S. East Coast bomb cyclone could bring heaviest snow in decades to North Kakalaki. Yeah, we might not make it again. We weren't supposed to make it last week. There we are. Power grid for $65 million on edge as dire cold follows the storm. It's supposed to be like 10 degrees at night Monday this coming. It's been cold all over. Here's a look at the setup this weekend. Not quite ready for snow map yet. They're calling for 3 to 8 inches. This has been upgraded to 80%. So yeah, it's supposed to like start over the mountains and Monday. Nowhere else is getting it. We're targeted for a snowfall. This big thing. Here's a rainmaker guy.
For you to freeze it in the first place, which generally, our own snow. It's actually way easier to make snow than it is rain.
Why is that?
So you know how the material freezes the liquid in the cloud?
Mm-hmm.
That means that the cloud has to be cold enough for you to freeze it in the first place, which generally means that it's cold beneath the cloud too. Now, with respect to rain, we're operating in Utah, Colorado, Oregon, California, and Texas. It's all rain in Texas, so we've been in our own rain there. Out in West Texas and the Trans-Pecos, the Panhandle, that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty. It's got to be a weird feeling, knowing that that's your rain.
Like I said, that's the second most important thing that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, it was a weird dude, and the whole things. I mean, he's in the silver iodine and all that stuff. Anyway, she mentioned about edible vaccines. Let's stop talking. Florida bill will mandate that edible vaccines carry proper food labeling. This was back last year. This time last year. You ask, you shall receive. Yeah, Mark, it's coming on Saturday, so I'll have one out on Friday night. So Saturday it's supposed to be the fluffy snow too, so it won't be that bad. We don't usually get fluffy snow. It's humid here. but fluffy snow won't affect anybody really. 73-year-old grandmother who practiced 40 years of celibacy opens up on life as an escort. It's kind of like, Grandma, you didn't see that one coming. Hazmat crews reveals what liquid attacker sprayed on Representative Omar. Apparently, it was hit with the kitchen. It was apple cider vinegar. Yes, it'd been hilarious if they threw bacon on her and yelled "unclean." In some states, a push to end all property taxes for homeowners. It is a goal spreading across anti-tax crusaders, eliminate all property taxes on homeowners. Officials in North Dakota say they are on their way using state oil money. Wednesday, Republicans in the Georgia House unveiled a complex effort to phase out homeowner properties by 2032. And DeSantis in Florida says it is his goal, with lawmakers considering phasing out non-school property taxes on homeowners in 10 years. And Republican Governor Greg Zionist Abbott says he wants to eliminate property taxes for schools. More and more, it's getting more and more popular. Yeah, the Fed, that was today, the Fed keeps rates steady amid Trump backlash and criminal probe. You know, it wouldn't be shocked if it was staged. I mean, any video that you see, you have to ask if it's staged or not, if it's real or not, AI or not. Bloodied Putin soldiers give up a gun-mounted drone in chilling first caught on film. Key Gulf allies say they won't aid U.S. in an Iran strike, limiting Trump's options. Saudi Arabia and UAE say that the U.S. can't use their airspace for a military operation against Tehran. There's the Nipah virus in India. Trump administration on alert as deadly virus with no cure sparks COVID-era quarantines. They've been talking about this for months now, this new thing that has no cure. U.S. health officials are monitoring the deadly Nipah virus outbreak in India that has put nearly 200 people under surveillance and triggered COVID-era travel restrictions over fears of a fresh pandemic. 200, huh? 200 million? 200. Doesn't even fill up the library. CDC officials told the Daily Mail they were in close contact with authorities on the ground to assess the situation. India's health ministry revealed Wednesday that 196 people who came into contact with infected patients are now being monitored by the virus, which can spread from person to person and kills 40 to 70% of those infected. How many is it that died? $200 people. So how many? What's the death count then? None? I don't see anything. Maybe I'm blind. Here's Trump. We haven't seen anything like this. We haven't seen anyone else talk about this. Trump, out of the blue, mentions dust and COVID-19 and whatever comes while at Davos. He sneaks it in while talking about the economy. You remember hearing that? Dust or COVID, whatever it is. Yeah, it goes back into dust. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park visitors run for cover during volcanic eruption, rare rock storm. None of them thought it was going on. The couple rose early to take the hike the rim of the crater. They began an area of falling in. They abandoned at 11:10. It blew up. Run. Yes, fear-mongering. Totally fear-mongering. Let's check this week. What happened on this day in history from Britannica. 1986, Challenger space shuttle explodes. 2021, Cicely Tyson, don't know who that is, died at 96. 2002, children's author Astrid Lindgren, still don't know who that is. Oh, she wrote Pippi Longstocking, died at 94. 1958, Godfred Kirk Christensen, whose father founded a Lego company in Denmark, filed for a Danish patent for a toy building block that became largely popular around the world. 1955, Nicolas Sarkozy was born in Paris. Why is that? Why do we care about it? Really? Slow news day. 1915, Congress created U.S. Coast Guard. 1912, painter Jackson Pollock leading exponent of abstract expressionism, was born in Cody, Wyoming. 1881, Fyodor Dostoevsky, I just butchered that, died in St. Petersburg. 1873, Colette was born. 1871, French capital Paris fell following a 4-month siege during the Franco-German War. 1813, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice was published unanimously and enjoyed immediate success. 1457, King Henry VII of England, who succeeded the ending of War of the Roses, was born in Pembrokeshire, Wales. And 1814, Charlemagne, ruler of the Holy Roman Empire, died in Germany, Aachen, Germany. Again, like I said, today's his feast day. If you read Garanger, if you look at censusfidelium.com, you go over there right now. I posted on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you can read the read up. Or I made a video about it. It's 23-minute read. Not too many people have listened to it. It's probably like 800, 900 people did it. But anyways, Charlemagne, want to read what Garanger says about Charlemagne, it's at censusfidelium.com. Check out the calendar. You'll see Garanger. Check out what is the January 28th. You'll see it. It's in chronological order. Anyways, what I was going to say. Or you go to Census Fidelium YouTube channel, type in Charlemagne. You'll see that too. Where was I at? Yeah. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being. It's an hour and a half. Great googly moogly, but that was long. Sorry for that. God love you. Have a great rest of the night and see you on Friday.